Alright, how's it going? Alright, let's talk about the dimensions on this 15-foot whipper. It's designed to fit in the back of a truck. You have to take the axles off, but the frame fits. You get about 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch clearance, 5 feet wide. Overall length of the frame, 83 inches. The rails, the beams inside, inner and outer beams are 76 3/4 for the length of the side beam and the inner beam. These are 2x6s. This is a 2x6, 4x6. You have for the base frame 2x8 and a 2x6 capped by a 2x10. The legs are all doubled up 2x6s. The rails are 2x6. The center post, tower post, is doubled up 2x6. This inner end beam, I guess rail member, is screwed in with like 6-inch construction screws, flanged construction screws, steep thread construction screws. I think they're 5/16. And then these are screwed in with longer, like 8-inch or 10-inch, same type of screws, so they offset from each other. Same thing here, big construction screws. The axle is trapped. These are trailer axles that I split in half and then stuck inside of this bigger galvanized pipe, tacked it to the flange. But it's trapped in place between the 2x10 caps and the 2x8 member, and then a 2x4, and then there's a strap, an aluminum strap that locks everything on. Let's see, length of towers. I don't really know. I can give you the overall height. See if I can do this. Before we get into the towers, let's keep going with the base, because there's a lot going on. Let's get the distance between the rails and from the edges. Now remember, this frame is 7 years old, so dimensions are not going to be exact. We're going to have some shrinkage and movement. Like this, these boards are typically 1.5 inches thick, but they're going to swell and move around. The lengths are going to shrink typically, because this is treated material, so when it's really wet when you get it, so when it dries out, it's going to move. So let's get this distance for this inner beam. 16 inches from the outside of the frame to the inside of the beam is 16 inches, and again, that's a 4x6. Okay, which makes the distance between the rails like 31 3/8 is what I'm showing. These, I made some heavy metal brackets out of a piece of like 4-inch angle by 3/8, I guess, thick, and then welded this 3/8 plate. And everything is through bolted. We have one going down through the bottom cross member, and then through the towers, all the way through with these carriage bolts and big washers. I think they're 1/2 inch bolts. Same with these. These are all through bolted with these construction screws. Maybe you can figure out what those are. What other dimensions? The towers, these inner tower heights from the top of the beam to the bottom of the tower tie are about 31¼ inches. Links on these cross pieces and their height. So from the bottom of the frame to the top of the rail, you're at 2 feet. And they are 63¼ inches long. The bottoms of these towers, the tower legs, there's a 22, they're a compound miter, 22.5 by 15. So you get that 15-degree lean and 45 between the two corner legs. Again, these angles are going to be 22.5, and they're not a 90. This is not a 90. It's something weird, like a 7.5 degrees, because it's that leg leans in. It changes what this angle is. It would be sticking out here like that if it was 90, but to get it all nice and flush, I think that's like a 7.5 degree cut there. Height of the next member up, where this tower tie, from the bottom of the beams, this one and this one, we're at 42 inches. So I gave you the inside dimension. That was 31¼ and then outside dimensions 42. The length on it, you can see I've done this half lap, or this lap joint, through bolted lap joint. I can't really give you that dimension. Kind of, maybe. Kind of guess at it, or a rough dimension. Yeah, not really. Not with one hand. By myself. Oh well. Just make them longer. Cut them off. You have critical dimensions. All right, the inside is going to be about 36 inches. 36 inches from here to there. It's about what that comes into. Then you have that tower tie. This one is like 28 inches. About 28 inches. See, it looks like it's a little short right there. So, yeah, about 28 inches. What else? I guess we'll talk about the headstocks in a minute. Let's talk about winching. Main winch. Again, you've got these doubled up 2x6. You got the 288 on the bottom. They're screwed with and glued together. The cap 2x10. You have inner and outer construction screws going into the leg. They're also going from the bottom through this bottom plate into the bottoms of the towers, in addition with all these other things, all these other fasteners going on. Super strong connection. The winch through bolted all the way down, right there. So it's through bolted in 2 locations. Here is also through bolted all the way through. It's set up with a redirection pulley and a snatch block. Alright, so you double your pull strength of your winch. That's just a 12 volt 3500 pound 12 volt DC winch. I put this on here because you need to be able to move the thing around, and well, the axles don't turn, so you just jack it up a little bit and you can steer the machine around. It'd be cool if it had one on the other side, but I've only been putting them on one side. It's the only thing necessary. The other winch for your second pull is to pull the arm all the way, or as far as you can get it forward. I use this hand winch set up in a snatch block system, so you double the pull. And it also, having it set up in a snatch block, it keeps everything centered well. The trigger goes up at an angle, so it's set on this wedge, and then the bottom of the trigger is actually tapered to this, so it stays vertical, but then the hinging action comes up and gets the trigger to the center of the space where your pins are connected. This is just a simple pull pin adjustable system, through bolted. There's really no weight on this trigger when you have it cocked. It's just a low percentage of what the counterweight is. You're just teetering there with a little bit of a safety margin. So I'll say, like, 5 to 10% safety margin, keeping the counterweight on the proper side. You don't want it back dropping. This actually was made on set at Mr. Beast when I had a snap shackle malfunction, and the whole counterweight came over backwards, and the winching cables ended up splitting the core beams, these 2 core beams. So on set we had to replace those, and we quickly made this trigger, which that's typically what I use. Most of my other machines have this exact setup. It's fail proof. So that worked out. I haven't even changed it. I don't necessarily like that it's a single bolt. I have way more engineered system that uses an adjustable. See, both of these are adjust, so I can actually make the adjustment on the pull of that pin, and also how high it cocks. Like if I move them way out here, well, it's going to push the counterweight on the other side. And when you do things like you're opening the gap, well, now you're changing the geometry, your counterweight geometry, and how high it's cocked. So sometimes you'll have to make an adjustment to get it to where you want its cocking height to be, and you always want to maximize that within that 5 or 10% safety margin. Okay, head stocks, we'll do that. Okay, head stocks, 6x6, treated 6x6, 5.5 by 5.5 with a 15-degree through dado. 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches deep, so that gives you plenty of meat up top, right? You got like 3.25 inches or something, 3 inches. Yeah, 3 inches. That's your tower's seat. They seat up inside of there, and we have these, again, these construction screws that go all the way through to this other side, but not protrude, right? They don't come out this other side. The inner tower leg comes up to the bottom of this, and it is also lagged from both sides. You have lags coming shot from both sides. The axle. This is a stainless hydraulic ram, and it is 2.25. It has these great big galvanized clamping system bolted down. These are lag bolts. It's not through bolted. It's just, they're real long. They're like 10 inches long and go all the way down into the leg. So they're solid. Bearings. Oh, and I use a piece of rubber tubing so we don't maul up the shaft, the axle, and get the bearings hanging up. Stop collars. I have 2 sets of these bearings. One was bad, and I used the bearing race as a stop to push on the bearing race of the inner bearings. So there's nothing really keeping them in. They'll walk out when I travel down the road. They're just jiggling and wobbling. I need to run a set screw through here and to lock these collars in place. Normally I have a little piece of wood that goes in there and taped in place and keeps that bearing from walking out. This tape broke or something, and it walked out traveling. What's next? I guess the arm and the hanger and what's going on with it.